What's up, guys? Welcome to SongPsych. Today, we're going to talk about why Gorillaz is so cool. Let's go! Once upon a time in 1997, two humans named Jamie Hewlett and Damon Albarn were roommates in London. They would watch MTV and be left, for the most part, unamused by a majority of the artists the channel featured. Then, it hit them. They should do something no popular artists have done before. They should form an animated band. And that's where the idea started. Jamie would do the visuals, and Damon would do the demos. When designing the band members, Jamie's goal was to make visuals that would appeal to them, without really caring about what the listeners would think. They'd always preferred visuals that were a little on the demented side, like dark and creepy. Scary. First, we have Stuart Harold Pott, otherwise known as 2D. He's the lead vocalist of the band. Jamie based 2D's appearance on his real-life friend, Stuart. Second, we have Murdoch Nichols, the band's Satanist bassist. Aspects of his appearance and personality were based on young Keith Richards, a member of the Rolling Stones. Next, we have Noodle, the lead guitarist who sometimes provides vocals. She is not based on a real person, but when Jamie was first conceptualizing her, he considered making her a 17-year-old girl. But Damon thought that was too similar to what Jamie usually draws. Maybe you should create something different, Damon said. So, Jamie made her a 10-year-old girl instead. Lastly, we have Russell Hobbs, also known as Russ. He's a drummer from New York with a very complicated past. To make a long story short, the souls of his dead friends inhabited his body, giving him glowing white eyes and unbelievable musical powers. He's also not based on a real person. Now that they had the characters figured out, it was time to come up with how these characters met. It all started on August 15th, 1997, when Murdoch attempted to raid an organ emporium to steal synth equipment so he could create his very own music group. Coincidentally, Stuart Pott, aka 2D, worked at this organ emporium and was smacked in the head when Murdoch drove his car into the emporium. Because of this, Murdoch was sentenced to 30,000 hours of community service, and he had to take care of Stuart. Later on, though, Murdoch actually dented the other side of 2D's head to impress a lady. After this, Murdoch decided to recruit Stuart into his band because he digged his look. He gave Stuart the nickname 2D because his head now had 2 dents. 1 year later, Murdoch inherited the haunted Kong Studios, located on top of a cemetery and landfill, because the owners were looking for someone to look after the place during the off-season. Soon enough, Murdoch kidnapped Russell Hobbs to be the drummer of the band at the record store Russell worked at. Now, all the band needed was a guitarist. They actually had one, 2D's girlfriend, Paula. That was until Russell caught Paula and Murdoch having an affair in the Kong Studios bathroom? Russell was pissed and broke Murdoch's nose, giving it a strange appearance. Then they got rid of Paula and put an ad in the magazine for a new guitarist. Within the same day, a package arrived on the studio's steps. Before they could even open the package, Noodle busted out and immediately performed a sick guitar solo on her Gibson Les Paul. After she finished the guitar solo, she just said the word Noodle. This became her nickname. There's tons more to this band's narrative that develops over the course of their album releases, so this is just the beginning. Now let's talk about what else is cool about the animated band. But Devin, if they're an animated band, how do they do live tour? I'm glad you asked. Gorillaz has presented themselves in many different ways throughout their history. Footage of their debut show at London Scala shows a mixture of intrigued and confused reactions from the audience. Most of the visuals consisted of hazy, pixelated patterns instead of images from the band's 4 members. This could have been because of technical limitations, or the fact that Gorillaz was just starting out. Either way, at the time, it was still different. Then they decided to change it up a bit, starting at the 2002 Brit Awards. The members of the band could now be seen in 3D form. Although Damon stayed behind the screen and let 2D shine, those who collaborated with him on the album would perform on stage. They also did this at the Grammys in 2006, where they performed Feel Good Inc. alongside De La Soul in real life. Then, a virtual Madonna joined for a surreal twist on her Hung Up single. Their Manchester Opera House performance was the site of Gorillaz adapting to bigger stages by ditching the cartoon exterior and creating something more all-encompassing. Damon remained veiled by a screen, his silhouette huddled over a piano. But everyone else was in view, including a brilliantly staggered Sean Ryder for his rendition of Dare. With their third album, Plastic Beach, Albarn finally ditched the comfort of playing behind a screen and took the spotlight. Snoop Dogg, Little Dragon, Lou Reed, and Bobby Womack all appeared on the 2010 LP, and their shows reflected that. Fast forward to 2017. The group dropped the highly anticipated album Humans, featuring a strong cast of collaborators including Danny Brown, Vince Staples, Dram, and many more. This was quickly followed by the album The Now Now 1 year later in 2018. Because they churned out these two albums so quickly, during their tour in 2018, Damon announced that they probably won't go on tour again for another 10 years to, quote, even it out. Collaboration is just as much of a staple to Gorillaz as their animated characters. Damon is the only permanent musical contributor to the band. Gorillaz music often features collaborations with tons of different artists, from Vince Staples to Jack Black. In an interview, Damon talks about how much he values collaboration. What you learn from working with other performers and musicians is invaluable, really, and can only help you grow. I mean, if you spend your whole life focusing on yourself, you're not really learning much. By creating their own virtual universe, Damon has said that Gorillaz can make music and art that are pure products of their influences without having to worry about the whole, celebrity thing. What artists do you want to learn more about next? Let me know in the comments. Thanks.